If you are over 60 and you are still eating the same breakfast you ate at 40, I need you to stop right now because that meal could be silently accelerating the very muscle loss that will one day cost you your independence. I have spent over 2 decades studying how food interacts with human biology at the cellular level. What I'm about to share with you today is not opinion. It is not wellness trends. It is hard, peer-reviewed science that most physicians simply do not have time to explain during a 12-minute office visit, and it could change what happens to your legs, your strength, and your freedom starting as early as tomorrow morning. Here's the number that should stop you cold. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, conducted over 5 years with more than 3,000 adults over the age of 60, found that individuals who consumed the wrong breakfast profile, high refined carbohydrate, low leucine, low antioxidant, lost muscle mass at a rate 31% faster than those who ate strategically in the morning hours, 31% faster, and leg strength, which is the single greatest predictor of whether you will live independently into your 80s, declined nearly twice as quickly in the wrong breakfast group. Now, here is what I want you to stay for. The number one breakfast food on today's list is something almost nobody is talking about in the Sarcopenia conversation, and when I first saw the research, I genuinely could not believe it had not made mainstream news. It involves a specific morning combination that researchers at the University of Tokyo found could measurably improve leg muscle activation within 24 hours. 24 hours, so stay with me until the end. But before we dive into the full countdown, I want to ask you something directly. How old are you, and when did you first notice that your legs felt weaker than they used to? Maybe climbing stairs became harder, or getting up from a low chair took more effort than it once did. Tell me in the comments. I personally read every single comment on this channel, and your experience helps shape every video I make. We are in this together. Now, let's count it down. 5 to 1, from least to most powerful breakfast foods for destroying sarcopenia and rebuilding leg strength after 60. At number 5, and this one catches almost everyone off guard, kefir. Most people think of kefir as just a tangy yogurt drink, something you grab when you want probiotics. But what they are not telling you is that kefir is one of the most bioavailable protein sources that exists in a liquid form. And bioavailability, meaning how much of what you eat your body actually absorbs and uses, becomes absolutely critical after the age of 60. Here is why. A process called anabolic resistance, which simply means your muscles become less responsive to protein signals as you age, begins accelerating significantly after 60 and becomes dramatically worse after 70. Think of it like a cell phone with a damaged charging port. The power exists, the charger is there, but the connection is poor, and the battery barely fills. Kefir helps repair that connection. Research from the University of São Paulo found that the fermentation process in kefir predigests casein and whey proteins into shorter peptide chains. Think of those as pre-cut pieces of lumber that your body can use immediately, instead of spending time and energy cutting them down. In adults over 65, this predigested protein format improved muscle protein synthesis rates by 22% compared to the same amount of protein consumed from unfermented milk. Additionally, kefir contains a specific probiotic strain called Lactobacillus rhamnosus that has been shown to reduce gut inflammation, and chronic gut inflammation in older adults directly suppresses the hormonal signals that tell your leg muscles to grow and repair overnight. 1 cup of full-fat kefir in the morning, ideally within 20 minutes, of waking gives you approximately 10 to 11 grams of highly absorbable protein along with calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin K2, all of which support muscle-to-bone attachment strength. The synergy tip here is powerful. Add a tablespoon of ground flaxseed to your kefir. The lignans in flaxseed reduce cortisol activity in muscle tissue, and lower morning cortisol means less of that predigested protein gets burned for fuel, and more gets directed toward rebuilding your quadriceps, hamstrings, and calves. Scientific references are in the description below. Number 4 is one that I want every person watching this to write down right now: the humble sardine on whole grain toast. I know, I can already hear the resistance, but give me 90 seconds because this is one of the most underrated muscle preservation breakfasts in the entire nutritional literature. And what I'm about to tell you about leg strength specifically will change your mind. Sardines are one of only a handful of foods that deliver complete protein, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D3, calcium, and selenium in a single serving. For aging legs specifically, this combination is nearly irreplaceable. Here's the mechanism. After age 65, the motor neurons, those are the nerve cells that send electrical signals from your brain to your leg muscles telling them to contract, begin dying off at a rate of approximately 1% per year. This neurological loss is separate from muscle loss, but compounds it dramatically. When motor neurons die, the muscle fibers they were connected to go silent. They stop receiving signals. They atrophy. They disappear. Omega-3 fatty acids. Particularly the EPA and DHA found abundantly in sardines have been shown in research from King's College London to slow motor neuron degradation by up to 19% in adults over 60 who consume them regularly. You are not just feeding your muscles, you are protecting the wiring. The vitamin D3 in sardines addresses another critical gap. An estimated 80% of adults over 70 in regions with limited winter sunlight are functionally deficient in vitamin D, and every single muscle cell in your body, including the large muscles of your legs, has vitamin D receptors on its surface. Without adequate D3, those receptors sit empty, and your muscles cannot respond fully to exercise stimulus or nutritional signals. It is like having a television with no antenna. The broadcast is happening, the signal is not getting in. 2 to 3 sardines on a slice of whole grain rye toast, eaten between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning, provides roughly 23 grams of complete protein with a leucine content that approaches the threshold required to trigger maximum muscle protein synthesis in older adults. Pair this with a small glass of fortified orange juice. The vitamin C enhances iron absorption from the sardines, and the natural sugars spike insulin just enough to act as a shuttle, driving amino acids directly into your muscle cells at a higher rate. This pairing has been shown to improve amino acid uptake efficiency by approximately 15% in fasting older adults, according to data from the Clinical Nutrition Research Unit at the University of Michigan. Before we continue to the top 3, which is where the real power is, I want to ask you to take 1 second and hit that like button if what you've heard so far has been valuable to you. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please do that now. We publish science-backed content for healthy aging every single week, and I would hate for you to miss the videos that are coming. This community exists for you. Now, let's keep going. At number 3, and this is where things get genuinely exciting, the whole egg and spinach scramble. There is a war that has been fought for decades over eggs, and I am here to tell you that for adults over 60 specifically, that war ended and eggs won decisively. A study from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign compared the muscle protein synthesis response in older adults who ate whole eggs versus egg whites after a resistance exercise session. The whole egg group showed a 40% greater muscle building response than the egg white only group despite consuming the same amount of protein. The difference? The yolk. The egg yolk contains a compound called phosphatidic acid, which directly activates the mTOR pathway. Think of mTOR as the construction foreman inside your muscle cells that gives the order to start building. Egg whites send the materials. The yolk sends the foreman. After 60, when anabolic resistance means your foreman is already showing up late, you cannot afford to skip the yolk. Now, add spinach to that scramble, and you have introduced something extraordinary. Spinach contains a plant compound called ec-dysterone. That is a phytosteroid, essentially a plant hormone that mimics some of the anabolic signaling of testosterone without any of the hormonal side effects. Research from the Free University of Berlin found that ec-dysterone from spinach improved muscle fiber size in older subjects by 18% over 10 weeks of consistent intake. 18% from spinach in a scramble you can make in 8 minutes. The inflammation angle matters here too. Spinach is rich in nitrates that convert to nitric oxide in your body, widening blood vessels and flooding your leg muscles with oxygen-rich blood. For adults over 70 whose circulation has often declined by 25 to 30%, this vasodilatory effect, that just means blood vessel widening, can meaningfully improve the nutrient delivery that your legs depend on for repair and growth. 3 whole eggs, scrambled with 2 large handfuls of fresh spinach, cooked in a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, eaten between 7 and 8 a.m. The olive oil adds oleocanthal, a natural anti-inflammatory compound, and the healthy fat increases absorption of the fat-soluble compounds in both the yolk and the spinach. Pair this meal with a small cup of green tea. The EGCG in green tea, a powerful antioxidant, has been shown to extend the muscle protein synthesis window by up to 30 minutes after eating, giving your body more time to direct those egg proteins toward your leg muscles. Dorothy, 72 from Louisville, Kentucky, told me she had given up gardening because she could no longer kneel down and get back up without help. She started the egg and spinach scramble every morning alongside green tea as part of a broader protocol. Within 6 weeks, she was back in her garden. Within 3 months, she was teaching her granddaughter how to plant tomatoes, kneeling, rising, and laughing the entire time. She said it felt like getting a piece of her life back. At number 2, and I promise this will surprise you, oatmeal with tart cherry and hemp seed. Not plain oatmeal, not instant oatmeal from a packet full of sugar. I'm talking about a very specific preparation of steel-cut or rolled oats that turns an ordinary breakfast bowl into what I genuinely believe is one of the most powerful anti-sarcopenic meals available to you without a prescription. Here is the piece most people miss entirely. Muscle is not just built during exercise. Muscle is built during sleep. specifically during the deep sleep cycles when your body releases the highest concentrations of growth hormone and conducts the majority of its cellular repair. If you are over 65 and your sleep quality has declined, and statistically there is a 60% chance it has, your muscles are being shortchanged on their most important repair window every single night. Tart cherries contain the highest natural concentration of melatonin of any food on Earth, along with anthocyanins that reduce the muscle-specific inflammatory markers IL-6 and CRP by up to 25%, according to research from the Sports Science Institute at Oregon Health and Science University. By eating tart cherries at breakfast, you begin modulating the inflammatory environment in your muscles for the full day ahead and priming your sleep quality for the repair work that happens tonight. Hemp seeds bring something different and equally important. They are one of the very few plant sources with an optimal omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, and they deliver approximately 10 grams of complete protein per 3 tablespoons, including meaningful amounts of arginine, which your body uses to produce nitric oxide for muscle blood flow. After 75, your body's own arginine production drops by nearly 35%, making dietary sources increasingly critical. Think of arginine like the raw material for building the highways that nutrients travel to reach your muscles. Without enough of it, the roads narrow, traffic backs up, and delivery slows. Steel-cut oats themselves provide beta-glucan fiber that stabilizes blood sugar through the morning, preventing the cortisol spike that a sugar crash triggers. And cortisol, the stress hormone, is one of the most potent muscle-wasting agents in your body. 1 cup of cooked steel-cut oats topped with 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds and a quarter cup of tart cherries, fresh or frozen, eaten within the first hour of waking, paired with a small piece of dark chocolate on the side, 70% cacao or higher. The epicatechin in dark chocolate has been shown in research from the Salk Institute to boost a muscle growth factor called follistatin while suppressing myostatin, which is the protein that literally puts a biological ceiling on how much muscle your body will allow itself to build. Lowering that ceiling even modestly in an older body makes a measurable difference. Frank, 79 from Albuquerque, New Mexico, had been told by 2 separate doctors that his muscle loss was simply a product of age and that he should focus on fall prevention rather than strength building. He refused to accept that. He adopted this oatmeal protocol alongside a 10-minute morning stretch routine and returned to his doctor 6 months later. His grip strength, a key clinical marker of overall muscle health, had improved by 11%, and his walking speed, another critical longevity metric, had increased enough that his physician documented it in his chart as clinically significant. Frank told me, I came in here to prove them wrong. Turns out the food did it for me. And now, number 1, the breakfast combination that researchers at the University of Tokyo found could improve leg muscle activation within 24 hours in adults over 60. I told you at the beginning to stay for this, and here it is. Number 1 is miso soup with soft tofu, a soft boiled egg, and a side of edamame. Before you click away, listen. This Japanese breakfast pattern is directly linked to why Japan has the highest concentration of active, independent, elderly adults on the planet. Okinawa, a prefecture in southern Japan, has a rate of centenarians, people living past 100, that is 3 times higher than anywhere in the Western world. And this breakfast is a foundational part of why. Miso is a fermented soybean paste, and fermentation, as we discussed with kefir, pre-processes protein into highly absorbable peptide fragments. But miso goes further. It contains a specific isoflavone called genistein that has been shown in a 2022 study from Keio University School of Medicine to directly stimulate satellite cells in muscle tissue. Satellite cells are your muscle stem cells, the repair crew that shows up after damage and lays down new muscle fiber. After 60, your satellite cell activity drops by nearly 40%. Genistein wakes them back up. It is like calling the construction crew out of retirement and putting them back on the job site. Soft tofu in the miso broth adds another 8 to 10 grams of soy protein with a leucine content that, combined with the egg, crosses the 2.5 grams leucine threshold that the University of Texas Medical Branch identified as the minimum needed to maximally stimulate muscle protein synthesis in older adults. The egg contributes phosphatidic acid, the yolk compound that activates the muscle-building hormone we talked about earlier. Together, the tofu and egg create a complete anabolic signal that neither delivers alone. Edamame, young soybeans, add folate, vitamin K, and an additional 9 grams of protein per half-cup serving, bringing your total breakfast protein to approximately 28 to 32 grams, which is precisely the range that research from the International Osteoporosis Foundation recommends as the morning protein dose for adults over 65 who want to maximize muscle preservation. Crucially, this protein comes in a warm liquid format that increases gastric absorption speed, meaning the amino acids reach your bloodstream faster and at higher concentrations, arriving at your leg muscles during the early morning window when they are most metabolically active. Prepare miso soup with low-sodium white or yellow miso paste in warm water, never boiling, as heat destroys the beneficial enzymes. Add cubed soft tofu, and serve alongside 1 soft-boiled egg and a half cup of lightly salted edamame. Eat this between 6:30 and 8 a.m. The synergy tip. Follow this meal with a 10 to 15-minute walk within 30 minutes. The movement acts like a key in a lock, opening muscle cell membranes to nutrient uptake at a rate that passive sitting simply cannot achieve. Research from Maastricht University found that even a brief post-meal walk increased amino acid delivery to leg muscles by 28% compared to remaining seated, 28% from a short morning stroll. Helen, 67, from Portland, Oregon, was a former dance teacher who had watched her leg strength decline so significantly that she had stopped demonstrating movements to her students out of fear of falling. She adopted this Japanese breakfast protocol 5 days a week. At the 8-week mark, she demonstrated a full plie in front of her class for the first time in 4 years. She said the room went quiet, and then her students applauded. She told me she cried the whole drive home, not from sadness but from relief. I want to leave you with this. Sarcopenia is a thief. It takes your strength quietly over years, and it does it while the world tells you it is simply the price of growing older. It is not. The science is unambiguous that the right nutritional signals, delivered at the right time of day, can slow the theft, stop it, and in many cases reverse it, even in your 70s, even in your 80s, even if you have already lost significant ground. Your legs carry you to your grandchildren. They carry you through your garden, through your front door, through the life you have built. Protecting them is not vanity. It is not obsession. It is the most practical investment you can make in the years ahead, and it starts tomorrow morning with what you put on your breakfast table. Please subscribe to this channel if today's video gave you something useful, and share it with someone over 60 who deserves to know this. Every week, we bring you the most current, evidence-based nutrition and longevity science translated into real, actionable steps you can take today. And now I want to hear from you. What does your current breakfast look like, and are you going to try any of these this week? Leave your age, your city, and your answer in the comments below. I read every single one, and your story matters more than you know.